Lagos State government announces 4 weeks partial closure of Lagos-Abeokuta Expressway for rehabilitation works. President Tinubu vows crackdown on terrorists, task National Economic Council on inclusive growth. On the foreign scene, United States President threatens to block opening bridge connecting U.S. and Canada. In sport, President Tinubu approves comprehensive reset of sport funding. Now the details. I am Taiwo Baruwa. Lagos State government has announced partial road closure on Lagos-Abeokuta Expressway to enable the Federal Ministry of Works carry out critical rehabilitation works on the field section of the road. The rehabilitation will cover the stretch from U-turn bus stop to Songo tollgate, affecting inbound and outbound lanes. The rehabilitation work is scheduled to commence on Wednesday, 11th February and end on Wednesday, 11th of March, spanning a period of 4 weeks. In a statement signed by the Lagos State Commissioner for Transportation, Oluwaseun Oshiyemi, the project will be executed in 2 phases to minimize traffic. Motorists are advised to plan their journeys accordingly, obey traffic signage, and cooperate with traffic officials on duty. The Lagos State government has presented financial assistance checks to another 300 beneficiaries under the Eco-Cares program, reinforcing its commitment to inclusive governance, social protection, and responsive service delivery across the state. The event was held at the Office of Political, Legislative and Civic Engagement. Addressing the beneficiaries at the event, the Permanent Secretary, Office of Political, Legislative and Civic Engagement, Chalabomi Shashara, while congratulating the beneficiaries, described the program as a practical demonstration of the dividends of democracy promised by Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu and his deputy, Obafemi Kadri Hamzat. Conveying the goodwill and greetings of Special Advisor on Political, Legislative and Civic Engagement, Afolabi Tajudeen, she averred that the financial assistance program is meant to bring succor to the indigent resident and urge them to take advantage of all the state's government has made available for the resident of the state. She emphasized that the Eco-Cares program reflects the administration's commitment to compassionate governance and people-centered policies that respond to the needs of Lagos residents. The first batch of the 2025 Lagos State pilgrims on pilgrimage to the Holy Land of Israel and Jordan have received the prestigious title of Jerusalem Pilgrim, JP, in Nazareth, Israel, marking the completion of their spiritual journey. Charge d'Affaires Embassy of Nigeria in Tel Aviv, Israel, Ezekiel Ikwe, while addressing the pilgrims, including others from Ogun, Ekiti, Ondo, and Osun State, at the conferment of JP title ceremony, urged them to continue to promote project and protect Nigeria's image.
Pilgrims to Israel, you bear not only your personal identity, you bear the identity of your immediate family, you bear the identity of your community, the identity of your state, and the overall identity of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Apologies for that mix-up. The pilgrims are due to return to Lagos later today after visiting another 2 significant sites in Israel. The Basilica of Annunciation, built on the ancient ruins where Mary received the announcement of the conception of Jesus Christ from Angel Gabriel. Meanwhile, the second batch of the 2025 pilgrims exercise will depart Lagos on Wednesday, February 11, 2026 for another 10-day pilgrimage. Now to the rest of the stories. President Bola Tinubu has declared that Nigeria would defeat terrorism and banditry, describing the threat as unacceptable and alien to the nation's core values. The president also tasked the National Economic Council to drive inclusive growth, stressing the need for the effective implementation of the Renewed Hope National Development Plan 2026 to 2030. President Tinubu gave the charge while declaring open the second National Economic Council Conference at the State House Conference Center, Abuja. He said insecurity remained a major hindrance to economic growth and required urgent collective action. The Nigeria Union of Journalists (NUJ) has taken note of recent legislative deliberations concerning the framework for the conduct of future elections, particularly issues relating to the handling and movement of resort for polling units. In a statement signed by its national president, Al-Hassan Yahya, the union maintains that the adoption of technology-driven mechanisms from the prompt relay of polling unit outcomes to designated collection platforms will significantly reduce suspicion, enhance transparency, and limit post-election dispute. As lawmakers conclude their consultations and fine-tune legislative provisions ahead of the 2027 general elections, the union urged them to prioritize measures that will inspire confidence among voters. The NUJ calls on stakeholders to act in the national interest and ensure that the electoral architecture for forthcoming elections promotes transparency, accountability, and public trust. In foreign news now, United States President Donald Trump has threatened to block the opening of a bridge connecting the U.S. and Canada until Washington is fully compensated for everything it has given to its northern neighbor. The president wrote on his social media that Gordie Howe International Bridge connecting the Canadian province of Ontario to the U.S. state of Michigan, would not open until Ottawa treats the United States with the fairness and respect. According to the project website, the bridge is being funded by the Canadian government but will be publicly owned by both Canada and Michigan. Michigan's Governor Gretchen Whitmer pushed back on President Trump's threat to close the bridge, saying it will provide jobs in her state. In the same vein, Michigan Senator, who is a Democrat, Elisa Slotkin, said closing the incredibly important infrastructure project would be awful for the state's economy. In sport now, President Bola Tinubu has approved a comprehensive reset of sport funding in Nigeria, directing economic management authorities to ensure adequate and timely financing from the 2026 fiscal year. The president announced the policy in a message posted on his verified X handle, describing sport as one of Nigeria's strongest national brands and an instrument for unity and international visibility. He directed that annual budgetary allocations for sport infrastructure, programs, events, and international competitions be provided and released immediately after budget passage and assent. President Tinubu also added a review of allocations for sporting activities currently spread across ministries, departments, and agencies. He directed that such allocations be structured and streamlined, with savings transferred into a unified funding framework under the National Sports Commission. And that's it on the news at 4, but just before we go, ensure you make use of your seatbelt while driving. You can follow us and like all our various social media platforms. X at Traffic Radio 961, Facebook, Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM, Instagram, Lagos Traffic Radio 961. Subscribe and watch news and programs live on YouTube at Traffic Radio 961. Visit our website on www.trafficradio961.ng. You can also listen to Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM live on my Lagos app for timely updates. Did you know that the Sanwo-Olu administration completed and inaugurated 120 units Courtland Villa, Igbokushu, Lekki? You can get more details on the Lagos State Government website. To end the news, here are the highlights of the major stories. Lagos State government has announced partial road closure on Lagos-Abeokuta Expressway to enable the Federal Ministry of Works carry out critical rehabilitation works on failed sections of the road. President Bola Tinubu has declared that Nigeria will defeat terrorism and banditry, describing the threat as unacceptable and alien to the nation's core values. We also told you that United States President Donald Trump has threatened to block the opening of a bridge connecting the U.S. and Canada until Washington is fully compensated for everything it has given to its northern neighbor. Finally, in sport, President Bola Tinubu has approved a comprehensive reset of sport funding in Nigeria, directing economic management authorities to ensure adequate and timely financing from the 2026 fiscal year. For contact with the newsroom, send a message to info@trafficradio961.ng. That ends the news broadcast compiled by Adesuwa Joyoka. I am Taiwo Baruwa. Thank you for listening. Good afternoon and welcome to the return trip.